Hey everyone, how's it going? Very quick updating video on the ban and restriction list we just got. I'm sure most people have seen it by now, but I just want to go over it myself, see how wrong I was. I guess the general senses of the community, right? I think for the most part, we were like, as a whole, I think the community was on the right train of thought with things that should and shouldn't get hit. And realistically, I think this was one of the most fair ban lists we've seen. I don't think too many people are upset, barring a few, very passionate deck builders with the leader that did get hit. But I'll have this linked in the description. This is Bandai's official site for the OPTCG for their ban and restrictions update. This just goes over what this means. This is coming out for Japan August 30th, right? So I don't think this means for us. We don't know when this is going to hit, right? I would imagine it is gearing up towards like set 13 for us, so maybe in a couple months, who knows? I don't know. But as a part of commitment to make maintain a balanced competitive environment, adding removing the following cards from the ban slash restriction effective August 30th. So maybe it is for us. I don't want to spread misinformation, so I guess it is August 30th. I was under the impression that was for Japan, but this could just be for everyone. But I just want to go over the cards specifically and go over my list. But as you can tell, these are not bans, but restrictions, right? For these ones, a banned pair cards. We've seen this in other Bandai games a lot. Union Arena has a lot of this from like the get-go, really. But haven't really seen this in One Piece. With the blue purple Luffy, I know personally I said it was going to either be like the leader would get hit if they're just going for a simplified thing, because I know there's a lot of purple cards that are coming out with Roger that are pretty good. Who knows how much it's going to cook with blue purple Luffy. But I'm glad that it didn't just get outright banned. This just means if you are playing blue purple Luffy, you cannot have the 8-cost Katakuri in your deck or the 9-cost Linlin. I truly didn't even think that it is a problem. It is a very strong card in the deck. This was like being utilized in blue purple Luffy more than purple Katakuri, obviously in terms of the meta. And obviously you can't use the alt art as well. But at least it's not banned. So that doesn't restrict other decks that weren't top meta that were using this card, right? No hit with Gum Gum Giant, but with the fact that they're hitting a lot of blue purple's defensiveness, right? Being able to heal with the Linlin or put up an 8k blocker that just restands itself every turn, and the fact that it ramps you back. That kind of negated the downsides to blue purple Luffy a lot, right? Being a 3-life leader, obviously a lot of Bello Betty was seen in the meta just because it was one of the only aggro decks that could properly combat blue purple Luffy being able to take it out before it reached its late game, right? Because once you reach that late game, it kind of negates the fact that you're a 3-life leader, because you can just heal. But not only heal, you can stack what this heal is going to be with your leader ability, right? Making this a very strong combo with the Linlin. Obviously, if you're at 8 or more Dawn, going into playing the Linlin, you get to use your leader ability, so you'll know what you are going to stack to your life with the Linlin, being able to set up some pretty nasty cards like Grab Blade or Red Rock possibly, or just get some more counter to your hand, such like that. But just in general, being able to heal in this deck made it too strong overall. So in my ban list video predictions, I talked about how either, not both, I didn't think that both of them would be hit. Either the leader was going to just get banned itself if they wanted to just take a kind of stronger approach to it, maybe barring some future set cards that they think are too strong for it, or this would be banned. But I'm glad that it's not the case and they're just going this route of restricting it for this deck alone, meaning that blue purple Luffy, while it is very much not as strong as it was, it is still playable. It's not like other banned leaders where we get like a very nerfed version as a promo to replace it. which we did get for this restriction list, right? But you can still build it. It'll still be probably a decent deck. I'd imagine some people who are really into the list, into the deck, will still probably try to make it work. Who knows? It is a pretty big hit. I think that Blue Purple is definitely nowhere near what it was without the Lin. Of course, this was a very strong combo in the deck, right? Some people said getting the 9-cost Sanji. I don't even think that like that was the problem. Just getting out 2 big bodies alone, yeah, that is very strong. But again, this is supposed to have a weakness to aggro, right? And also on the site, they do go over like the reasoning, the rationale behind the bans, right? So they have a message from the One Piece game, the development team. So this is an update, and then regarding the policy of ban restricted cards, right? And then they talk about it, right? The deck built around Luffy was intentionally designed to have a weakness to exploit in the early to mid game, right? So that discusses the aggro, right? If you're a 3-life leader, it's kind of easy to get rushed down. However, with the defense of an 8-cost blocker or a heal card, it did allow for a little bit of negating that weakness, right? So the fact that you were just ramping a lot with the early game, like the Zoro, the 4-cost Bon Clay, God Thread, all this stuff. Thunder Bagua was put in a lot of lists, right? Inclusion of these cards allowed for players to compensate for the weakness, giving a strong defensive ability that maintained high winning and using rate. So that is also a big thing, right? Typically we only see stuff get hit once it's like almost overrepresented in the top tables and top tournaments, and becomes almost what every top player is using, right? That's when you kind of know a deck is a problem, like a tier 0 type of format where the tier 0 is just so oppressive to other decks and it doesn't have that much counterplay, right? The fact that Bello Betty was alive in this meta was just because of what it countered, right? Bello Betty pretty much only exists in top tier brackets when it can counter something in the meta like Blue Purple Luffy, right? Once we get into 5-life leaders, it's a little bit harder for Bello. So in set 12, I didn't think that anything was going to get hit by that. If they nerfed Blue Purple Luffy, then Bello probably will just fall out naturally in the meta. So yeah, this is just to put back the intended weakness to the deck, right? So that there is some counterplay to it, which is a nice little explanation. Pairing you to the number of the decks effectively compensate against it, which in turn harms strategic diversity as such. Okay, so yeah, they just put that weakness back in. And yeah, so banned cards, the Nami leader. If you guys didn't see, there was like a OP13 Otama that was just a 1-cost blue 2k counter. I think it was like a draw 2 trash 1 type of deal. So I'm assuming they just banned the leader. I think a lot of people were calling for this or some kind of hit to the deck other than that because of the Otama. Similar to, I think it's on here. Yes, and we'll just go through it all. Sakazuki is unbanned, and then Kabji is also unbanned because of the new Nami that they printed to replace the old one, as they often do with the banned leaders. They replace it with a promo that's not as strong. This card was just because it was banned because of Nami, Blue Nami, being able to utilize this card and then just keep bouncing it back on their turn, so there's no counterplay from your opponent, right? Just being able to on-play, draw 2, trash 1, kind of decking yourself out without your opponent being able to really do anything about it to counter you on your turn, right? When you're swinging against Nami, there's things that can punish them for using events. There's things that can punish them for this or that. You can KO their characters like this on your turn. But things like this on the Nami player's turn that can just be repeatedly played out, returned to hand, then played out again to deck out a lot, caused for right? A little bit of lack of interaction between the players, so that's why this was banned. And then similar, this is like the new Otama card is just very similar to this, so that's why I guess instead of limiting new card design, they instead replaced the Nami with a new card, right? So the new Nami leader is essentially the same, except it is restricted according to the rules that you can only play East Blue type characters. So that's why this is no longer banned, because he's not East Blue, he's only Buggy Pirates. So now with the Nami, you still have a lot of great East Blue cards like Kaya, East Blue. I think some of the events are, right? But it's not going to be as strong. I think a lot of people were talking about Nami in regards to Emu being a counter, and while I am a fan of like interesting ways to play the game, alternate win conditions can be somewhat fun. I don't think a lot of players had fun playing against Nami, and you know, maybe it's a sign of a stranger meta if Nami comes back into play and can really do well, because it's a sign of just like a slower meta. And also, like I mentioned, when they're printing new blue cards, they have to kind of work around this deck. Like all of the Kuzan cards for set 12, right, are like that deck is specifically revolved around being essentially leader locked to Kuzan. All of the cards are like trash cards, but you can only draw them back if you're playing Kuzan, right? So stuff like that, like they can't print new blue cards that's just like a draw trash type of deal without it maybe being exploited in Nami. So it looks like they just banned the leader, even though this would have been one of the first rotations, right, with OP03 in April. I believe set 1 through 4 will be rotated out, but just in preparation, I guess, of set 13, they decided to ban this leader. I don't know. I would rather leaders not get banned, because specifically for Nami and the fact that it was alternate win condition, I think a lot of people were very passionate about this deck. Like the community behind this leader and the fact that it's an alternate win condition is very strong. So I hate for them to lose out on like just playing the game in general, because there probably will be a good chunk of players that just quit because of this. I don't know. If you're a Nami player, let me know what your thoughts are on the new card, new leader. But yeah, it was a little bit rough, right? And here's their explanation. As new card sets have been released in the game, the deck built around OP03 Nami have become far stronger than intended. Yeah, it's a unique strategy, diverge from the gameplay experience that we want to provide. So yeah, as more sets come out, it becomes harder and harder to design blue cards because of this deck utilizing them in ways not intended and became stronger than they wanted, right? The presence of this deck will constrict development of blue cards. Yeah, so like I think I think the Yamato, the 5-drop SR it has some condition that locks it, but also 5 Don is a lot for this. But specifically the new Otama was enough to put this deck back on the map, right? That one cost, it's a 2k counter, it's got draw and trash abilities, right? People see something like that and immediately think of Nami. Obviously, it's not the intended deck for it, right? But I guess they can't keep locking every blue card behind leaders or a specific archetype. So instead, they just put Nami behind East Blue only. I think that's fine. I don't know. I think you can still play Nami. It's definitely way worse. So I don't know. Again, I don't prefer when leaders are banned unless it's like really, really bad. Like Red Purple Law back in like set 8 in Japan was like all of the top tables. So stuff like that, yeah, totally get it. There's not much they can do besides banning a ton of other cards, which restrict a wide variety of decks. So sometimes just hitting the leader is warranted for the current space in the TCG. But speaking of leaders, we are getting Sakazuki back, and this was a card that's been so debated on. I didn't think it was coming back because we had that new promo that replaced it, and also I know people are excited about this, but like it's still got no Gecko Moria, no Ice Age, no Great Eruption, right? It can still probably do well, and like RIP to Rayleigh if you've got a really good Sakazuki player at your locals, or just at your tournament, right? That is unfortunate, right? That is that's a big rip. That's a big rip. This is with some of the cards in it, right? Can really just consistently clear boards against low cost characters, right? Which is what Rayleigh is. So I don't know. I don't want to like doom and gloom, right? Obviously, like I said, this deck is a lot weaker in the current standing, and it has been one that people have been like, every time ban lists are talked about since it's been gone, are like, he's coming back, and the prices for the alt art keep going up and down. I don't know. If you're a Sakazuki player, let me know. Are you excited about this? Right, we've determined that this card is no longer poses a threat to leader diversity in the current environment, and therefore decided to unban it. Which I think is fine. Like I said, it's missing a lot of pieces that it used to run that made it like crazy. Obviously in set 5, Sakazuki was... it did take a while in the East for people to kind of like catch on to Sakazuki, I think in set 5, and then in set 5 for us, he was very popular, and then especially in set 6 with Gecko Moria, this deck just exploded and became a really big problem, which caused it to be banned pretty quickly. But in current standing, yeah, I don't know. I think being a 4-life leader, the fact that it's got no Gecko Moria, no Ice Age, no Great Eruption, I think that's like fine. It's still going to be annoying to deal with in some cases, but there's definitely a lot of decks that can counter this. And then of course, yeah, Kabji with the Nami being restricted to East Blue, there's absolutely no point to keep this banned, right? So yeah, like they said, so now that the OP03 Nami leader is banned, we concluded this card's impact on the current environment is no longer an issue. Do you actually like, if you have Emoji Draw 2 and Trash 1, I don't even think you need this in the Buggy leader, right? I don't know. Are any Buggy players rejoicing because they got this card back? I think you have enough card draw cycle and searchers from early game that you don't really need this. I don't know. Like, you're probably just playing 1-cost searchers or a 4-cost on Fordon anyway. So I don't think the draw 2 Trash 1 is that crazy for the deck. Like, every other card in the deck is something for that, right? But yeah, that is like the rationale behind the bans. Let's see, on this page, does it have... No, it doesn't have the new Nami promo. I know a lot of people were talking about RP Law coming back. I think he would have still been pretty strong deck. People talking about Kingdom Come, Raigo coming back. I'm biased against Anel, so, you know, keep that banned. I don't, you know, that's my bias. People talking about Jinbei coming back. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I played Boa, so I would have loved for this to come back for Boa, but like, I don't know. Also with Gecko too. Obviously, if they unbanned Gecko, they wouldn't have unbanned Sokka, so that's your trade-off for sure, for sure. So definitely on like surprised that they unbanned Sokka for sure. But it's not, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think he's going to be like crazy like they said. I don't think he's a huge threat. Yeah. Definitely, I think one of the more fair and like reasonable ban lists I've seen in a minute. Let me know if you're a Nami player. How upset are you about the new Nami leader? Right, still got the same win condition. If you hit 0 cards, you win the game instead of losing, but you're restricted to East Blue cards. I think that's like the only difference, which is a big difference, of course. Yeah, let me know if you guys are going to be playing Sakazuki now that he's unbanned. And yeah, definitely a huge hit to Blue Purple Luffy. I don't think we can understate how much it is a big hit to it. Definitely can still play the deck, but I don't think it's going to be like topping consistently like it has been, right? I don't think it's going to be as much of a gatekeeper or that crazy of a deck. Like, it definitely has way more weaknesses now. And yeah, no Hody Jones ban, which is what I said shouldn't happen. I was not in favor of Hody being banned, even though it was on the list. If you listened to me yapping all that time, I talked about how I don't think that it should be banned. I think green is too fair of a color. Even with the new red-green Luffy, I don't know, he's not getting talked about a lot. There's just so much that, like, I don't think Hody needed to be banned. If they were going to ban anything from green, would have been probably the Hody or something specific to Zoro. But yeah, I don't honestly. I'm glad they didn't hit green at all. Because now with blue, purple Luffy kind of to the side, there might be some other decks that come up that maybe counter Zoro a little bit. Definitely interesting to see. This will definitely shake up the meta a bit, right? I think for us over here in the West, like, we love Zoro. I love Zoro, right? I think a lot of people are going to be on Zoro regardless, so I think that'll be a big defining factor. I think a lot of people will move on from blue, purple Luffy that were just, you know, very meta-focused players. So I'm eager to see what does come to the forefront to become the new best deck and format type of thing. It will be interesting to see, right? I think there'll be a bit of a shakeup for our set 12. I'm still very excited. I love set 12. All the leaders seem really fun to play. I'm excited to play the game. But this honestly just makes me more excited to keep up with tournaments and big events. So I'm going to be on the lookout for all that. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And like I said, I feel like for the most part, the community had the right idea overall. Like, I didn't see like too many people talking about things that weren't hit here, right? Like, there was just we all knew there was gonna be something with blue purple, and I think a lot of people weren't like so much on the train of just ban the leader, and I'm glad that they went the route that they did. I did see a lot of people talking about Nami and hitting something once that Otama was revealed. Even when Emu was kind of revealed, I think a lot of people theory crafting were on the train of like, oh, Nami can maybe do pretty good against Emu, right? Because it's just doing its own thing for the most part. But then once that Otama got revealed, you know, it kind of pushed it over the edge. So yeah, like I said, I think the community as a whole, from what I saw, was pretty accurate with what we were thinking about. And like I said, I thought there was going to be some kind of restriction, but I thought they were going to like limit Gum Gum Giant. But since they hit other defensive tools from this deck, right, Gum Gum Giant kind of got saved. Like, you got to be greedy with Dawn minus effects because of the Katakuri in blue purple too. Getting you that one Dawn back meant that you could pretty much always have 8 or more Dawn going into the turn, so that way you'll always be able to use leader ability. So now that he's gone, you do have to be more cautious with that too, making you even more susceptible to aggro. But yeah, I think overall pretty fair ban list. No green cards hit because green's too fair of a color. Shout out Hody Jones, even though all these 5-elf leaders makes playing Yamato a little bit riskier. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I don't even think that was the main issue with green Zoro anyway, was the Hody. I think a lot of people were talking about that green 3-cost restand event for Zoro being, you know, pretty deadly at late game. But yeah, pretty fair ban list in my opinion. It'll definitely shake up the meta a decent bit and lead to more innovative deck building, right? With this Sakazuki coming back, I think a lot of people are going to be trying to crack the code with the updated Sakazuki list. He could be coming back. I don't know. Interested to see. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about the ban list. Are you sad, upset? I think pretty much a lot of people are just gonna be like, okay, right, about it. I don't know. But either way, leave a like. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.